G'day, Stu.
Yeah, g'day, Andrew. How are you?
Good.
Mate, just a story, living in Wellington, internet on the old copper system, working absolutely beautifully. One day, it just stopped working, rang our service provider, which was Flip, I think, and they said that they hadn't cut us off. Chorus had cut us off. Contacted Chorus. They said that Flip had cut us off. Went back to the original service provider who said there was a problem with the copper network and that they couldn't do anything much to help us. Furthermore, they said that they couldn't send anyone out to look at it because Chorus workers don't work on a Saturday. I suggested that maybe I send them a photo of the two service technicians across the street from me as I was on the telephone to them from Chorus fixing the copper network. So in the end, we had no choice, but we actually had to go to fibre. They pushed us into it. The Indian boys that turned up to do the job, all credit to them, they did a good job. They turned up, they opened the back of their van, all the crap fell out of the back of the van onto the road and ran down the road. Their compressor didn't work to blow the fibre through. I had to lend them my air compressor to blow the fibre through.
Awesome.
Other than that, yeah, everything went really well, but very disappointed.
Yeah, okay. I think they're trying to force us into it in a cheap way, aren't they, mate?
There was nothing I could do about it. I really tried to stick to the old plan that I had. It was a good plan. Everything was working, but they wouldn't wear it.
No. All right, Stu, thank you so much. 0800 80 1080. By the way, we need to sort of remind many people, I think there's a general misconception out there. Chorus, just do the wires, whether it be the fibre or the copper. They get the stuff to you. But the phone service, that's done by Spark or Flip or whatever. So this was after the whole demerger of Telecom, right? And so we had to have a little bit more competition and all that sort of thing. Now we're having this nationwide push driven on by the government as part of the ultra-fast broadband initiative to try and get us all on the fibre. And I'm not sure they've got the money or the planning or whether they've underestimated the job that's in front of them. 0800 80 1080 is the number to phone. And now we've got the Commerce Commission studying consumer protections for the big switch to fibre from 2020. And I think that's far too quick and far too soon. G'day, Peter.
Yes, how are you?
Good, sir.
Well, I've got a good news story to tell you. I've just recently changed to fibre, and I've gone through a provider called Voyager, who were very good. They kept in contact with me. If I ring Voyager now with a complaint, within 5 rings, a man will be at the end of the phone, not some computer number. And it's much cheaper than Telecom. I'm saving about $30 a month through them rather than use Telecom system. Chorus came and put it in, and I had no complaints at all about the boys that did the job. They did a very good job, and I find this much faster on the computer, and you don't get any buffering on TV when you're watching Netflix and that. So in actual fact, I think it's a damn good service.
When it works, it works. But I've got almost exactly the same sort of text, which saying that they've got the fibre in, and the boys came in and put it in real quick. But
they did a good job.
Yeah, they did a good job. But my other texter was saying, but the internet has ended out slower, and it doesn't interface with the smart TV.
It does. Well, not on mine. It's much quicker.
Not on yours, I know. And this is the thing. It's patchy. It's variable, and that's not necessarily good enough standard to actually go for a big old changeover. And particularly when you end up leaving behind an awful lot of other people. It's 21 to 3, NewstalkZB, 9292 is the text. Okay. Angus, hello.
Good afternoon there, Andrew. Yeah. I don't know if everybody knows that there's an outfit called Telecommunication Disputes Resolution outfit. They are in Wellington. They're not in the latest phone book, mind you. I had to look up an old phone book. But for people having these fun and games with all their telcos, these people have helped me in the past. They act like an advocate for you. It's a free service.
Right, so if you're having a bit of argy-bargy with Chorus and they're not turning up and they're not digging the trench and they're not putting it all in, phone this crew and they'll get out the big boots.
Yeah, that's the one. They've got an 0508 number, if that's any good. But
0508, can you remember the rest of it?
The rest is 989898.
Gee, that's a dyslexic old number.
Well,
do you know what I mean? 0508 898988. Okay, 989898.
That's the one, bit of a tongue twister.
Or you could say 9898998.
they've got a fax line too, but they don't tell you what it is here.
That's very handy, though, to know. Angus, it's very handy to know.
Yep.
But thank you so much. 0800 80 1080 is the number to phone here. So I'm going to read this text. It's been sitting there glowing at me the whole time. While it's probably not acceptable to characterise Chorus as hopeless, that's been my experience, while I feel for the lady who waited 4 months, this is a lady in Upper Hutt we talked to earlier, after waiting 16 months for a multi-property connection. I feel that government and the whole telecom internet industry has wildly oversold ultra-fast broadband as an accessible, readily available option. So far, after 4 versions of the installation plan, repeated errors of fact in the planning, being actually sent the wrong set of plans, spending dozens of hours actually digging trenches and clearing vegetation to ease the process, their failure to honour the promise to consult on site with a clear, consequent failure to understand the nature of my site, my ISB going to voice over broadband on copper with all the necessary changes for computer connectivity, etc., etc., etc. I've now had to deal with 4 different people and had to relitigate and start again each time, all unsuccessfully. Plenty of Chorus staff, often visibly inactive in vehicles around the area, but a company repeatedly not able or willing to honour the supply promise. Government funds poorly spent. Ultrafast once connected it may be, but actually getting it, absolutely hopeless. So don't panic, Andrew. If 2020 is the target change date, they haven't got a hope in hell of managing a fraction of the change from copper in that time frame. It'd be laughable if it wasn't taxpayer money subsidising the inefficiency. 0800 80 1080 is the number to phone. Simon, hello.
Hi, how you going?
Good, mate.
Hey, look, I used to work in up until a few months ago, worked for a telco. So I'll put them as clear as I possibly can, from my understanding. With Chorus, most of the workers don't work for Chorus, they're all subcontractors. So, and some of them are pretty poorly treated. Yep. Okay. Now, with the actual fibre rollout itself, most of it's actually done. It's just the hookups to houses and stuff like that. That's the finishing part. And if people understand that if they've got to get some sort of internet into their house, they might as well go for fibre because it's so much better than copper. You know, the speed, it's a piece of nylon that the fibre is running through, and then the speed is phenomenally faster. Okay, so if they've got to get something, then it may as well be fibre because the cost for fibre is actually less as well. It doesn't matter what telco tells you, to get fibre installed it actually costs less than getting copper installed.
But Simon, this isn't the issue. None of this is the issue because people already have the copper. It was already pre-installed. It's been around for the last 50 years. And so they've just been using that anyway, or a modification of it. And they feel absolutely no compulsion to have to go back and reinvent the wheel. And while you're right in that the fibre has already been delivered down the streets from many, many places, it's that last 10 metres in the trenches and stick in the box somewhere in the thing that is breaking the camel's back.
Look, for sure. And the thing is that last 10 metres really should be a very simple, easy job, and generally it is. And there's that sort of 10 times out of 100, it really turns into a nightmare. If I don't have anything to do with Chorus for the rest of my life, it'll be too soon. Because they're the biggest bunch of idiots that you've ever dealt with.
Well, there we go.
I'm talking Chorus themselves, not actual, the guys that are doing the work at the houses. Yep.
But you do get the point. You get the point.
So much money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about to get to the money. Hold on, mate. I was about to get to it. You get the point that was said by one of our previous texters that what is really upsetting is that the government has subsidised all of this to make UFB. It was a part of an election promise with National. It was all that sort of thing. It is a subsidised thing, but it's subsidising something that's not working and is inefficient, and that really gets our goat.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there was huge subsidising in the end, actually, to be quite honest. And the subsidising was they were talking about for the rollout. Well, the rollout's pretty much done. I mean, look, I can only talk about Auckland. If you look at the bottom of Auckland with all those old buildings that have been all refurbed, all the copper's already been actually pulled out of all of those and they've got fibre in them.
No, we get all that. We get all that. And the people we're talking about.
The whole point is that it is really a very simple job to run fibre. It's just unfortunately it's being run by a bunch of cowboys that really are interested in making huge amounts of money, and they're really not interested in the service side of it, looking after Joe Blogs, average public or whatever. Because it really is very, very, very simple. And the woman who's complaining earlier on about her phone may or may not work on fibre. Well, it will. It just needs a little tweaking, and she needs somebody there to do that for her. And that's where Chorus have lost the plot, and they just don't give a damn about Joe Public.
Yeah, well said. And he's right. And we were talking about Patricia. They don't give us stuff about Joe Public. And they'll come in, and that poor little lady, I'm getting so many texts about Patricia. She just wants to phone her friends. She just wants someone to come in and help her get through it all. She's left all alone, And it's so important because it is a lifeline from your house and out. It's communication. And they're just going too fast. They're doing it inefficiently. They're hacking us off. Graham, hello.
G'day. Hey, look, interesting. And we've got fibre with our work computers, and we're part of a large multinational corporate in Whangarei, and we were one of the first to get fibre. And we've had Chorus or Telecom, or Spark, whatever they call themselves these days, in about 1 million times trying to get our speed up, because we're finding that fibre now that there's people on the network are building up, we're finding, and it's interesting with fibre, it doesn't slow down, it just cuts out and has these spasms, and we've had plenty of issues with fibre. And one of our technicians from Australia, who's independent to New Zealand, he was saying that just stay tuned. If you're a residential and non-commercial user, just wait for the 5G to come out. It's going to be faster. Doesn't have the capacity, but it's going to be faster than fibre in New Zealand, and probably end up being cheaper. And what fibre will be used for is just for big file downloads and big data users for commercial.
Right.
That's where it's ending, and that's what's happening in Europe. The 5G network is going to blow away fibre for anybody who's doing stuff off a phone and internet searching and movies and things like that. And
there's a problem with that, mate, and that apparently Huawei are the experts in doing this, and of course Huawei are owned by the Chinese, and there's a few people worried that the old 5G network is going to be riddled with little rabbit holes, where the Chinese can come wandering through and have a look at all that info.
Well, in Europe where they've got 5G, it's just unbelievable, and it makes fibre here look pretty slow. Actually, it's like old copper network fibre.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Graham.